Mindful Life Practice community.
We're going to let's come into a seated meditation today. So bringing yourself into a crisscross. Settling down through the sits bones. Lengthening up through the spine with each and every vertebrae stacked one on top of the next. And then just allow your shoulders to soften down the back. Take some deep breaths in through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. And then close the mouth and then just breathe normally. If that's comfortable for you. And in this moment, allow yourself to do a little awareness check. How am I doing tonight? Or this afternoon or this morning, depending on where in the world you're located right now. How is my body feeling? How's my mind feeling? Where's my heart or my spirit at? Over the past few weeks, we've been kind of exploring and getting into Hanumanasana. And I said to you guys last week that, not in this class, but in another class, that I actually didn't even remember the story of Hanuman. I couldn't remember the specifics. So I decided to do a little bit of research and a little bit of reading into it. And I was thinking today we could move through a flow that targets this area. So it's going to involve opening the hamstrings, making the quads a bit more receptive, releasing the hip flexors, strengthening the back. And finally, moving into that half Hanuman, the half dragon splits. So if you have an intention or a reason being here for your practice, please start now. If you don't have an intention, we'll just be working around the themes of believing in ourselves, believing in our own potential. So before we get into our yin, so if your eyes are closed, you can just gently bring the eyes to open. And then take an inhale, sweeping the arms up towards the sky. And then just exhale, draw your palms into your heart center. Let's just take 3 more like this. Inhale, sweep all the energy up in a circular motion. And then exhale, draw it inward. 2 more. And 1 more inhale. Exhaling the palms and heart center. Take an inhale, sweep your fingertips up towards the sky. Let's land the right fingertips and then come into a little bit of a lateral side bend, reaching your left arm all the way towards the right. Yeah, you got it. And then just come all the way back upright. I want you to take that left palm, land it on your right knee. We're going into a twist. So draw your right fingertips back, gaze over the right shoulder. Then if it feels right for you, you're going to drop your right earlobe towards your right shoulder and then just get a little bit of a trapezius muscle stretch through your left traps. And then we'll inhale, come all the way back up through center. And then land your left fingertips. Inhale, reach. Take your right arm over to the left. And then slowly just come to upright. Land your right palm on your left knee. Take your left fingertips behind you. Gaze over the left shoulder. Maybe drop your left earlobe towards your left shoulder. And then come all the way back up through center. Take your hands onto your thighs again. And then we'll just take some little circles with the torso. Sometimes I find this movement kind of helps you settle into stillness. Let's just take maybe 3 more circles. And then bring yourself all the way back through center. I'm just going to move towards my mat. We're going to move into our first pose. So it might be nice to have some pillows nearby. The first pose we're going to take today, it's not going to be dangling, which I typically do for my forward folds. We're going to take caterpillar. Okay, so caterpillar pose, you are sitting on your mat. And then it might be nice to have some pillows over the legs. And then you're going to drape your body down on these pillows, supporting yourself. Just kind of soften into the shape. Settling in. So Hanumanasana, for those of you that don't know, it is the name for the full splits. And I cannot do the full splits, but it's something that we've been working on and progressing towards in a few of our classes on the MLPC. And I said to you guys last week, I was like, I don't know the story of Hanuman, but I know it's about a monkey who jumped from India to Sri Lanka. And I said, I'm going to have to do a bit of research and learn a bit more context. So I found the story of Hanuman in one of my books today about yoga, and I want to share it with you. So the tale of Hanuman is a story of faith, of love, and devotion. Hanuman, the devoted servant of Rama, is the symbol of agility and unwavering courage. With his muscular body and his monkey head, he's often depicted carrying a mountain, symbolic of his strength and tenacity. And he is the faithful companion of another character from yogic mythology called Rama. And his primary purpose was to serve, to give without return. And service is a reminder of our interconnectedness with others. how each of our actions can lead to a higher quality of life for ourselves and for those we are in service to. So there's another character in yogic mythology called Sita. And Sita was abducted and taken to Sri Lanka. And so all of the monkeys gather at the bottom of India. And they discuss how they're going to save the abducted Sita for Rama. And part of that rescue involved one of the monkeys having to jump all the way to Sri Lanka, all the way from India to Sri Lanka. So Hanuman, he had some special powers. He can jump into the full splits. He's a shape shifter monkey. But he didn't offer to do this jump because he had forgotten his powers. He had forgotten how powerful he was. And when his monkey clan reminded him of how powerful he is, of what he had forgotten, he starts to trust and have faith. And so Hanuman made this jump from India to Sri Lanka in a single leap. And he did this because he had a companionship with Rama and he wanted to bring Sita back to Rama. So that's the story of why the splits is called Hanumanasana. And it's told much better than when I just said to you guys last week, you know, a monkey jumped from India to Sri Lanka, and I don't remember why. So we're going to take a few more breaths in this pose. And then the second pose that we're going to take, our goal is going to be to make the quads a bit more receptive. So here we've been working on opening the hamstrings. And next we're going to be working on making the quads a bit more receptive. So before we do that, let's just peel all the way back to upright. You can maybe slide the pillows to one side. And then let's just take a moment and rebound. So coming all the way into upright. It's getting darker here in Abu Dhabi. Sun has gone down. Now the next shape that we're going to take, this is a pose called saddle. And there's a few options, okay? So the first is the full saddle. We did this in one of my classes last week. I think it was the Hanumanasana class, actually. So you're gonna come to sit on, or come onto your knees, And you're gonna take your feet wider than your bottom. Pull your calves out to the side and then see if you can sit your hips down in between your ankles, okay? If this is not working for you, basically we're gonna take a restorative way to stretch our quads. If this isn't working for you, maybe you can just do one at a time, like lengthening out one leg, and see if that's okay. All right, we're good with both legs or one leg. Now the next option you're gonna have is to slowly recline your back body down, okay? So you can have some pillows if you like. And basically you're gonna slowly lower it down until you feel this stretch in the front of your quads. Okay, so again, if it's too much, you can stay upright. Or you could try extending one leg out and then just keeping one leg bent, okay? That's much easier. And if this is all too much and you have a lot of pain in your knees, the goal here is to stretch the quads, okay? So you can also do another quad stretch, like lying down and just pressing your quad in gently like this, okay? That's also an option. So I just want to make sure I have lots of accessible options. I hope that's not too many. But I'm aware that every person's body is different, and that's actually why I generally avoid these more advanced yoga poses, because I don't want to cause injury and I don't want to push people away. But I hope that within all the options I gave you, that there's something that suits you. So we're gonna be here for about 4 minutes. And I'm gonna tell you when we make it midway through the pose. So if you're doing one leg only, you can switch to the other side. And if you're just doing both legs, then just chill. So there's a term in the Yoga Sutras, it's called Shraddha. And that is faith in what you can't see. And understand. I think a key part of this story is that Hanuman, he lost belief in his potential, right? He forgot that he had these superpowers. He could literally jump across the gulf, and he lost this belief in himself. And I think just like Hanuman, we as humans sometimes lose belief in ourselves. When we're confronted with challenges, when we don't have the answers. I did a yoga teacher training this past summer, and this was like a huge theme of my experience. I can't remember if I've told some of you guys this story. I mean, we've been doing yoga together now for like 75 days on Zoom. I was in a situation this summer where my teacher, Rolf, he asked us to come up with a Dharma talk, a theme for a yoga workshop. We're about halfway through this pose. If you are taking one side, please feel free to take the other. If you're taking both, just stay. He said to us, find an ordinary moment from your life in the last 90 days. Circle back and make connections to yoga philosophy, the Yoga Sutras. And then theme a yoga workshop and come up with a Dharma talk based on all that. And I had a lot of trouble with this task. Because the day that I met Rolf, it was my 100th day sober. And the last 90 days of my life hadn't been ordinary. I had had huge sweeping victories, right? Quitting this addictive substance that I never thought I would be able to quit. The reason why Rolf inspired me so much, and the reason why I wanted to meet this man who wrote this has so much story, so much context around his wisdom, being a recovering alcoholic, and yoga changed his life. We're making it to the end of our time in this saddle pose, and I guys just take a few more breaths. And then just slowly make your way all the way up. And again, let's take a rebound and staff pose in Dandasana. This is another pose that I never ever do. So you come to sit with your legs out in front of you. I actually remember one of my yoga teachers saying that you should do this pose every morning because it wakes you up really well. This is probably the first time I've ever taught it in a yoga class, so I definitely don't do it every morning. Nobody's perfect. So we opened the hamstrings. We worked on making the quads a bit more receptive. Next, we are going to release the hip flexors. And we're going to take an upright dragon for that. So you're going to come all the way up into a low lunge. And you can decide, you're going to take your right foot forward and then interlace your palms on the right knee. So simple dragon lunge. Make sure your back knee is comfortable because you know that we are going to be here for 3 or 4 minutes. So Rolf had us spending time writing, these Dharma talks and these yoga workshops. And while everyone else was working away on their project, I was sitting there in panic. First of all, because my life just hadn't had any ordinary victories, as I said. And second of all, I just couldn't write anything because every time I sat down and tried to write something, it felt like I was plagiarizing a page from Rolf Gates' book. And you can't plagiarize your yoga teacher when you're on their training. And so on the last day of the training, Rolf said to us, you know, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone need any help before this project is due? And I went up to him and I burst into tears and I was like, I just can't do this project. And I told him all the reasons, which I just told you guys now. And he was super understanding and kind, and he told me I didn't have to do the project at all. And I went to dinner feeling terrible, really down about myself, really feeling like insecure as a yoga teacher. And I bumped into some of my friends having dinner, and they were talking about how Rolf had played us the harmonium. Something I learned about the harmonium this week is that it's actually not a traditional Indian instrument, as I've described it. It's actually originally British. And it moved from Britain to India when Britain colonized India, and then it became adopted in India. So that's a fun fact. Harmonium is the instrument that Harinam was playing in Kirtan on the weekend on Facebook. So anyway, Rolf was playing this harmonium and my classmates were talking about how beautiful it was. And I told them, I actually have a harmonium. And I'll tell you the story of that harmonium. I decided to order it on Google, which is where you can buy secondhand items in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Let's take about 3 more breaths. And then we're gonna switch into the opposite side. Sorry guys, as I start telling this story, I realize that it's like epically long. I'll keep you distracted the whole class. We're gonna go straight into the left side. Okay, so you're gonna land your right knee and then step your left foot all the way forward. Again, setting up for 3 to 4 minutes on this side. So you can on the top of the left thigh. So I drove all the way to Sharjah to pick up this harmonium. And when I got there, I realized that I had forgotten my wallet. And you guys know the traffic in Sharjah. I must have been on the road for like over 2 hours one way. And I got there and this guy, he just gave me his harmonium. Like I was a complete stranger. All he had was my phone number. And he just trusted that I was gonna wire him the money when I got back to Abu Dhabi. And I thought it was just like one of the most beautiful acts of like believing that someone else is going to take the right action, right? They're going to do the right thing. He didn't have it in writing that I was going to pay him. I could have just taken it and left. And as I told my friends this story, it kind of dawned on me, right? Belief in our potential, belief in others' potential. That was this theme I was looking for all along. And the reason why I couldn't come up with a Dharma talk, it's not because I could not do it, but it's because I didn't believe in myself and I didn't believe that I could do it. And these are 2 very different things, right? What we're capable of versus what we believe that we're capable of. belief in our potential, it shows up massively in the Yoga Sutras, massively in our yoga practice, right? If we believe that we're not going to be able to do a pose, then we're never going to be able to do it. My own personal yoga practice didn't progress for like 4 years. And I think, I shouldn't say it didn't progress, but it slowly progressed. And I look back now and I realize it was a matter of me being afraid and lacking confidence in myself. It's not that I couldn't do crow, it's that I was too afraid and I didn't believe that I could do crow. Right, the same thing happened on my first yoga teacher training when I just cried on the first day and I wanted to come home because I didn't think I was good enough to be there. Same thing happened on my second yoga teacher training when I thought that I, wasn't able to properly lead the class in that style of yoga. I got up there and I could do it just fine. Right? But if we have these limiting beliefs about our potential, then we'll never be able to do what we're actually capable of doing. Stay on this side for about 5 more breaths. You're doing awesome. And then we're gonna lower the palms. And then just step the left foot all the way back, stepping the knees back. Sliding the pillow to one side. And then let's take a rebound on the navel today, if you like. So coming down onto the belly and then just resting your forearms. This is gonna prepare us for the next shape. We'll be right in the right position. Let that stretch kind of soak in. Then the next pose we're just gonna work on thinning back, opening the heart. So we're gonna come into a Sphinx pose. We want to have a pillow maybe underneath your navel. We're gonna be here for about 3 minutes. So the first minute and a half, we're gonna just be in Sphinx on the elbows. And then I'll give you an option to lift up into seal, which is like a deeper expression of the shape. So anyway, belief in your potential. I have dreamed for years of doing what I'm doing right now. Running my own yoga business, of planning a yoga teacher training, of launching a podcast, of building a community. This is my dream. And when the first podcast episode came out this morning, Yasser said, you know, I've been waiting for this podcast since December. And he's right. In December, I said, I'm making a podcast. And the truth is, I actually recorded episode 1. Episode 1 was recorded. And I never launched it. And the reason why was because I thought that I just couldn't do it. I thought no one would want to listen to it. I thought that, you know, it would be a failure. I had a meeting with my business coach last night, and I was telling her the whole story of how I ended up where I am today. And the truth is, it's not because I woke up and believed in my potential. It's because I was kind of thrown off the cliff and forced to fly. If you want to come up into a seal, that's an option to go a little deeper. You're going to come up onto your palms. It is quite a deep back bend. We're just going to be here for 1.5 minutes. You can walk your hands a little wider, creating a bit more space. But how I ended up starting the MLPC, it's not because I woke up one day and I was like, oh, I believe in myself, I can do this. Truth is, I had a falling out with where I was supposed to be teaching yoga, and I had nowhere else to go. Coronavirus was happening. All the studios were closed. I'm like, I guess I should start doing yoga by myself on Zoom. And being forced to go out on my own showed me that I actually could do it all along. Right? I could make a podcast. I could start running my own yoga business. I could be leading my yoga classes on my own. I don't need another business to back me anymore. What would your life be like if you started really believing in your potential? Imagine what you can do in the world when you believe and trust in yourself. Let's take a few more rounds of breath. And then we'll take one more rebound on our navels again before we move into our half Hanuman, our last pose. And slowly just make your way to upright. And so coming into the Hanuman, I'm just going to take a half Hanuman. If you want to place your foot, what we've been doing in some of my classes is placing a foot on like a slippery surface. So like, you know, foot can be on the pillow and then it might slide along the floor and that might help you to move into it, but you don't need to. You can also just extend your, oops, oh my God, I almost lit my pillow on fire with the candle there. You can also just extend your leg and lengthen out like this. This is all good. Okay, finding your own sort of depth. And we'll be here for about 3 minutes on this side and then 3 minutes on the other side. So this all ties into all of this storytelling. Took the entire yoga class, but it all came up from me reading this story about Hanuman today and kind of making this connection to my own life, right? Hanuman loses doubt in him, or has some doubt in himself. He loses belief in his potential, and his friends have to remind him of what he's capable of. Imagine what we could do in the world if we met our uncertainty with belief and with trust in ourselves. Our difficulties, our doubts, they would melt. Knowing that within each of us are the tools and the skills and the heart to, to follow our dreams and to follow the path we believe in. So in our Yin Yoga classes, we're faced with these challenges. We're faced with holding poses for a long time. It's difficult. It's uncomfortable. Right? We're cultivating this strength to meet life's challenges. To have faith in what we can't see. Let go of uncertainty. Sometimes in moments of doubt, we're going to slowly come all the way up. And then just swap out. So land your right knee and then swap out for the left leg. Bringing yourself into Hanumanasana or half Hanumanasana for 3 minutes on this side. And I'm just going to leave you in silence here to feel this shape, to breathe and to be with it. You've heard me talk enough tonight. Take 3 more breaths. And then just slowly make your way up. Make your way into your final resting pose. Whether you take that pose seated, whether you lengthen out into your shavasana, whether you take any other shape, it's all good. It doesn't really matter. Choose an affirmation if you like, or maybe an intention. I am strong, or I am capable. Maybe setting an intention to move forward with it, whatever it is that you've always wanted to do, but haven't had the courage to. Belief in our potential. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My powers turn on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. I've still got a lot of fire left in me. I've still got a lot of fire left in me. Give your fingers and your toes your little wake up wiggle. And a nice, sweet and simple stretch all the way, fingertips through toes. your knees into your chest. Give your body a nice little hug, a nice little squeeze. And make your way all the way up to seated. Taking your palms into your heart center, lengthening through your spine, easing through the shoulder. And if you would like to join me in Om, we'll inhale and then exhale, and then inhale through to make an Om. So take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Close with the intention, the ancient intention, but the original intention. And passed from heart to heart through thousands of years. That our yoga practice remain steady, that our efforts be continuous, that our yoga serves and benefits all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy, be healthy, and be free. May the thoughts and actions of each of our lives contribute towards this. Om Shanti, 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 peace. Namaste.
The Mindful Life Practice Community.